Welcome back to the HIA-LI Economic Development Summit. I'm Eliud Custodio with Turn One Studio, and I'm here with Terri Alessi-Miceli, CEO and President of HIA-LI. Terri, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
So how do you feel? We're at the end of the summit. Was this what you
Yeah.
expected?
Yeah. You know what? I think the best part of the morning was that it's very, very rare that you can get that many town supervisors in one place at one time
Heavy hitters
talking
out
about
there.
some major developments on Long
Yeah,
Island. So I'm excited about it.
yeah. Did you hear anything that surprised you?
Surprised me. Not necessarily surprised me, but I think that, what I did hear is a lot more information about how critical it is for us to get, for example, a handle on the waste
All right, that was a big
situation,
deal.
right? It was a
Everyone
big
spoke
deal.
about that.
And there were some projects I did not know about.
Uh-huh.
And, the way I closed is I think it would be really, really important that we somehow take these types of presentations and have a young professionals group come in.
Mm,
I think it's important that our young people really understand that there is so much building going on Long Island
yeah.
because when I meet them, they'll tell me they have nowhere to live, right? And they can't afford it
Hmm.
as well. But I mean, I think it's a supply and demand issue. So the more apartments you build, and even multifamily, the more you build,
Yeah.
the more the prices go down. So I was really encouraged by that, really encouraged by that.
Yeah. I asked all of them how they felt about an organization like the HIA contributing to their initiatives. And they were all ecstatic. They were all positive and bullish. How do you feel the relationship is on your end? Are these folks as accessible as they seem?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, for the ones that, primarily for really anyone we've ever, and I personally have ever had to reach out to. Listen, our role at the HILI is, we're one of the recognized voices, right?
Hmm.
For Long Island business. So I take it quite seriously that we need to be not only bipartisan, but we need to, every time a new elected official, is involved, or any time there's a changing of the guard, that's one of the first things we do, is we reach out to them. We invite them in, we talk about what we're doing, we ask them what they're doing. We just hosted about 2 weeks ago an economic development dinner,
Hmm.
very specifically for the dignitaries, just to say thank you. And
Okay.
at least 35 of them showed up
Well, that's
just
a
to
huge
say
number,
thank you.
actually.
Yeah. So, we really work hard at not only appreciating them, but understanding that listen, all of this needs to be done in collaboration, and it has to be done in an extreme bipartisan manner. It just
Without a
has to
doubt.
be. Um, it's been the other side of the coin, I think, is it's been interesting to watch how government potentially works very different than a business,
Hmm.
right? So we in business, I can only speak for myself, but I know you well enough to say, like, we work at a very, very fast pace.
Yep.
Not to say government doesn't always, but there's not as much red tape, right? So there's a problem, we find a solution. It's just very
Yeah.
different in a government entity. There are a lot of other people you have to meet with and things you have to push forward. And so I think it makes the pot even sweeter,
Uh-huh.
when you do get a win or when a development is ready to be built. And again, collaboration is the key.
Yeah.
The
The,
key.
the complexity seems to explain a lot of the slowness, if you will,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
righting the ship.
Yep.
Going back to the younger professionals in particular, um, how do you recommend we move forward getting them involved in events like this and public policy, I guess, for lack of a better phrase?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things we instituted early on is that anyone from either a high school level or a college level um, can really come at no charge to many, if not all, of our things. Now that
Is that I don't even
I
think I
think
knew that.
about it,
That's very
yeah.
cool.
So we had two groups from two high schools at our annual meeting. I don't know we had any students today, but it would have been nice,
Sure, yeah.
right? Um, and the biggest challenge we have when we deal with school districts is they need to get transportation to get the kids here, back and forth, which is really what they have to figure out more than
Right.
anything else. But I think that's one way to do it. We just have to expose them to what's going on. You know, I think here's the difference. When you go into New York City and you walk down a street and you walk down Park Avenue and you see Google and you see, Amazon and Meta and LinkedIn, and you see a vibrance and an energy to what's going on. Long Island is set up very differently, but
Hmm.
there is a vibrance and an energy going on. I think it's our jobs as business associations and organizations to really put that in our young professionals' faces. So, for example, next week, I think it's next week, we'll be at Hauppauge High School
Uh-huh.
talking to the students, a
Yeah,
bunch
I'll be
of us. You will be
participating with
participating,
that. I'm
yeah.
looking forward to it.
And really talking about what careers look like and we have to really make it a job to let them know that there are places here to work.
Hmm.
There's energy here on Long Island. There are places here to live. You don't have to live, God forgive me, in your mother's basement,
Sure.
right? So
Yeah.
I think all of this ties to that. That's why I'm so excited about the next 5 years with development.
Yeah. Well, I've heard you use the phrase multiple times in regards to addressing people interested in joining the HIA, that it's a great opportunity if they are the island's best kept secret.
Yeah,
I think that's your
yeah,
phrase, right?
yep, yep,
So,
yep.
um, yeah, if you're walking down Park Avenue, as you mentioned, and you're seeing those big names, it's easy to, from a branding awareness and a top of mind perspective, to be aware that those options exist and it's exciting. What should companies in our park be doing to kind of do the same?
Yeah. So I think inside and outside the park, right? So, it's interesting. My tenure at the HIA-LI spans, it'll be 20 some odd years. But I remember when I first got involved, even and I grew up in Hauppauge,
Hmm.
and saw the park. And, I'm going to date myself, but rode my bicycle on that park at one point. Um, would go visit these companies and I think, wow, there's a company in the park that's won like 4 or 5 Emmy Awards. Made the first Steadicam camera for the film industry.
Wow.
There is just such magnificence in that park and outside that park. But I want to answer your question, Eliud. So the question is, what do they need to do? They need to get out more.
Hmm.
They need to, not only us, but there's some great business organizations on Long Island. They need to understand how important it is. And what we try to do is make a connection between their ability to get out at a business organization or any place else for that matter, and their ability to attract talent
Yeah.
and their talent pipeline. They don't always see that as a direct connection, but there is a direct connection
Yeah.
because they're meeting people. People know other people. People refer other
You
people.
have to be involved.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, what's next on HIA's horizon
Well,
that we should know about?
the trade
The
show
trade show.
is right around the horizon, May
Okay.
28th. The luncheon very specifically, we'll be talking about larger projects of regional significance. And we will have Carol Longworth, who you heard from this morning
Yeah.
from Empire State Development. She'll be talking about the big win that the Long Island Regional Planning Development Council got. We'll have some of the mayors. There'll be the mayor of Mineola will be there talking
Excellent.
about this new project called The Bridge,
Okay.
which is supposed to be a great contemporary apartment. Tritech will be talking
Okay.
about station yards and um, Shoregate and Patchogue. And so it'll be just a great conversation. Again, we will invite kids into that. So we normally invite a bunch of school districts into that. So we're really excited about it.
That's very
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, yeah. And it is a place for businesses really to show their wares,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Terry, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.